You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Herald Football writer Bonnie Jansen is in Sydney for tonight's World Cup final. I can't believe Spain are favourites, Bonnie. I thought England are favourite.
I know, I can't believe this either, Piney. It's baffled me a little bit. Kind of everything's in England's camp. They've had experience at this level in major tournaments, and they've had a great tournament so far. So, yeah, it's interesting, but I guess Spain, they've shown how world-class they are.
You're in Sydney for the game tonight. Give us a bit of a weather report, first of all. Are we going to have a nice evening for it?
Oh, it's bloody beautiful, as they would say here in Australia. There's barely a cloud in the sky, and it's heating up. It's about 22 degrees now. I've actually just been out by the poolside at the hotel, just getting a bit of zen before the thrill tonight.
Outstanding. All right, well, you've watched all of Spain's games. You've watched all of England's games. In fact, I think you've watched all 63 games at this World Cup. One to go. What kind of game can we expect tonight? Talk to us about the way both of these two teams play.
Well, both of these teams have been extremely possession-based, and in all of their matches, they've dominated that front on the statistics. They're also keen to go forward and start that right from the back line. They can both score goals. Spain are the top goal scorers of the tournament, but they've both been very composed. I would say more so England. They've seemed less panicked, whereas, of course, Spain actually did lose a game quite significantly this tournament. So, however, I think the two best teams are in the final tonight, right? No one's been ripped off. We're going to see a display of some really, really good, technically, tactically exceptional football.
Lauren James, this has been the selection issue basically ever since England made the final. Just to catch our listeners up who might not be aware, Lauren James, one of the most promising and brightest young talents in this England setup. She was sent off in the round of 16, got a 2-game ban, and therefore hasn't played the last 2 matches, but is available tonight. What do you expect her role to be? Do you expect to see her in the starting lineup, for instance?
No, I don't expect her to be in there. She started a couple of games for England. She didn't start the first game for England this tournament. So there was, whether she got this red card or not, there was no, security that she would be starting tonight. And Alatoon has been playing in that number 10 role since James got the red card, and she's been exceptional. Off the ball, she makes some very, very clever runs. She scored in the semi-final a great goal. So there's no reason why Alatoon can't do the job. And, knowing that you have Lauren James in your back pocket and coming off the bench is a huge threat, so a threat for Spain, rather. So I think that would be the move to go for Sarina Wiegman in England tonight.
Now, the other thing that people may not have picked up on if they're not following things closely is that Spain, or the Spanish football team, is just a highly divided team between the players and the coaching staff. Coach Jorge Vilda has been the subject of major scrutiny by all sorts of people. A bunch of players said, well, look, we're not going to play for you. 15 of them, 12 of them have therefore not come. So it's astonishing they're even in the final. What does this say, Bonnie, about a team and their coach? Can a team be a high-functioning team even if they hate their coach?
Well, I guess so. They made it to the final, right? But at the same time, I think for any other team, it probably couldn't work out this perfectly. But Spain, they host some of the best players in the world right now, like Atanya Bonmati and Alexia Putellas, two of the best in the world. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I don't really like the guy Jorge Vilda. Some of the stuff that he seems to apparently have put his team through, like keep asking them to keep their doors open at night and having very, very strict schedules seems a bit ridiculous. So I don't know if it's bad of me saying, but I don't want Spain to win tonight for that reason. But I would love to see the Spanish players win tonight to prove kind of him wrong and that they're world class and deserve the best treatment.
Just a word on last night's game, third place game, often the game nobody wants to play, and it must be hard to get yourself up after the emotional drainage of getting beaten in the semi-finals. Australia 0, Sweden 2. It was a bit of a meek end for the Matildas, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and I think they were just so fatigued and just knackered, mentally, physically, emotionally, and, they can hold their heads high regardless of last night's poor performance and unfortunate result. They've changed football in Australia and hopefully New Zealand as well, as we're trans-Tasman cousins. But just, I saw today they're now the most expensive team in a sporting team in Australia. They're worth the most, and you can see them celebrating across social media today. And in Brisbane, they got the keys to Brisbane and had a little event ceremony there. Just they've done so much. So yeah, last night, pretty boring game, and it always is, third and fourth, really, isn't it? Unless you get to really stand on a podium at an Olympic Games, I kind of don't really see the point of a match like that.
Well, let's hope that tonight lives up to its billing. It's been an outstanding tournament by any metric up till now. One game to go. Let's hope it's not one of those where it's just so tense and they're so scared of making mistakes that they don't go at each other. I don't get the feeling that is what'll happen tonight. Who you got?
I think England. I've got England going against the TAB there, clearly. But, I think England have just been so professional, and they're a humble team, and they can rise to the occasion, and they're a real job-done team. We know Spain can lose. They've lost this tournament. However, I wouldn't rule them out. They have scored some fantastic goals, and they control a game like no other. So it is really going to be a really exciting show tonight, and hopefully we get some good goals.
What time do you think you'll get to the game?
5 o'clock. I turned up to the semi-final at Eden Park far too early, and they sent me away. So I think 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock Australian time, 3 hours before kickoff, I will arrive there and get ready in my seat and just watch, all the scenes play out of the fans rolling in and things like that. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Enjoy it all. Bonnie, thanks for joining us. We'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, mate.
Bonnie Jansen out of the New Zealand Herald. Read her at nzherald.co.nz and hear her on the Football Fever podcast, the Daily World Cup podcast, which has been produced every day throughout this tournament.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.